इन्जिनियर भनेपछि तपाईको दिमागमा पुरुष आउँछ कि महिला?
इन्जिनियर त पुरुषै आउँछ।
इन्जिनियरमा बढी केटा हो।
इन्जिनियर बोथ, बट धेरै जस्तो चाहिँ मेलै देखिरहेको हुन्छ।
In Nepal, my home country, it is assumed that women are caregivers and are close to water. Then I wonder, if women are so related to water, why do we not see more women in the professional water sector?
I remember there were no lady professor in my college. I remember there were few lady engineers in my office, and we were regarded as the employee that were taken just to fulfill the quota system in the office.
Out of 48, there were 5 girls.
Well, first you need to know that there is something like a norm in the profession. And I call that norm masculine.
Working style has been structured throughout the time, excluding the female. Talk about a construction site, it has been male dominant. So every structure, they have neglected female, they have forgot about that necessity of female.
The entire engineering discipline has been historically forced with the idea of taming water. Nepal engineering faculties were deeply influenced by northern ideas of engineering. Engineers use a set of mathematical and scientific concepts to solve problems. So, why does it matter whether a man or a woman is performing these tasks?
The features that are connected to engineering or that are seen as belonging to a good engineer, in many places and also in Nepal, these are features that are thought to come more easily to men than to women. So on the one hand, no, it doesn't matter, but on the other hand, the things that define irrigation are seen as very masculine. So then what you get is a dangerous cocktail in a way.
What is considered real knowledge or real engineering is also charged with cultural norms, perceptions, values, and they follow a certain gendered pattern.
Choosing to study engineering itself is a challenge for women. In Nepal, despite gender balancing quotas, the number of women studying engineering and water-related subjects have not increased considerably in recent years.
Studying engineering, it was just a spontaneous choice. I was good at physics, good at maths, and a few of my friends were going for engineering, and it was easy for me.
Engineering is a boys' club, not the girls. So I don't think like girls will join engineering with a quick mind. They need to be like ensured that you'll be okay joining engineering. And it was the first reaction of my parents too. When I said like I want to join civil engineering, they were like, no, you can't. You are a lady. You have to work in a field. It will be difficult for you.
It's all about the mindset and then the gender roles and then the opportunities that provided to their kids from their parents.
From childhood, boys and girls are steered in certain directions. How are these stereotypes ingrained?
So we can treat children as legitimately participating in communities of masculinity and femininity and learning through their participation how to be a boy, how to be a girl, how to be a man, how to be a woman. And you actually see those sorts of activities going on, for example, in the home, if dad is mending the car and, you know, a little boy is standing there holding the tools. And it matters because if children have stereotyped ideas, which many of them do, particularly in early years, they actually limit what they do.
We always want to like be pretty instead of being smart. So that's the place where the actual discrimination starts from. It's unconscious, but it starts from a young age.
So, why has it been difficult for Nepali women to fit into the engineering and water sectors?
The difficulties for women, they might have done excellent engineering education, have better grades, better merits than men. So the engineering colleges are not a problem per se, but then they enter employment in the Department of Irrigation. And then you see sort of a different ball game. Say you need to construct an irrigation canal somewhere in a district, and then the senior engineer will select a junior male engineers because he knows okay, I don't have to look after these guys. These guys, they are, supposed to take care of themselves. Whereas if I send a lady, oh man, that's a headache. So if you don't go to the field, you will never become a real engineer. Because you will not get the exposure, you will not get the actual practical training.
When the work is allocated, it's allocated like the boys are destined to go to the field and girls are not even allowed.
You will have informal talk at the staff offices when you have men among each other, you have barter, sex jokes, etc. And that whole informal environment will change when a woman enters the scene. And that it is difficult for women to enter. These are all very subtle forms of discrimination that if you add them up, if you pile them up, well, I guess you have a barrier.
We were going to take a female candidate. She had a good interview, so many of us had chosen her to be the next candidate. But one of the senior employees had a different opinion when asked about the reason that person. She would be the person working in his cabin, so he doesn't want her to be in the cabin with him. He can't crack jokes and he can't be comfortable. Like, that shouldn't be a reason, but that's the reason.
धेरै मान्छेको एटिट्युड अलिकति नराम्रै एंगलको धेरै मान्छेको चाहिँ छ के जुन बेला मलाई आफूलाई रियलाइज हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि केटाकेटी भयो बेलामा त उनीहरुले डाइरेक्टली एक्सप्रेस चाहिँ गर्दैनन् जब केटा बसेको बेलामा हुन्छ अलिकति नेगेटिभ एंगलबाट हेर्ने चाहिँ हाम्रो अब त्यो सोच चाहिँ एकदम म्याक्सिमम छ त्यो
Women have to make the hard choice between being a good lady or a professional engineer. Female engineers in Nepal are forced to juggle between two different identities which society does not think can intersect. Can this be changed? Can the dangerous cocktail of masculinity and the water sector be uncoupled?
The people who are part of this bureaucracy will do everything to maintain this image, and their own identities are actually dependent, and their own reputations are dependent on maintaining this idea of both of men and of irrigation.
You can't change it like in a blink of eye. You need some effort, and that effort is lacking in our society.
Can we actually change the structure of masculinity, or will it just continue to reproduce itself?
It is something that is difficult on the one hand, but not so very difficult on the other. It's simply naming it, simply accepting, hey, it matters. The white masculinity is often taken as the norm, and that's why it's never mentioned. So to start mentioning it often creates a bit of a shock. Isn't it remarkable that this sector is populated mostly by a very specific category of people? And how does this then influence what is done, if it does at all? Yeah.
One of the ways that has been adopted to fight this power structure in Nepal has been the implementation of gender balancing quotas.
I agree, it's an ugly measure to sort of impose, say, 30 or 40% quota on hiring female engineers, but you're talking about power structures. And if you want to change power structures, you need to come up with some weapons. And you must be prepared to fight.
In one way, it's a positive, is like you bring in women and also the marginalized communities into mainstream education. But at the same time, some deserving students are left out and they lack the opportunity to study. So it's both, I mean, plus and minus. But I think in the long term, it might be beneficial to have such quotas.
One of the methods through which this prevailing masculinity can be changed is by how we educate engineers and water professionals.
A lot of the forging of these associations and the forging of particular professional identities happens during your education. So if you can make changes there, I think it's very important.
I will be very interested to include more social sciences education in engineering education. It triggers a sort of re-evaluation of what is considered good engineering and what is considered bad engineering.
Quotas have been helpful in Nepal, but adding social science education can change how these sectors approach water issues as a whole. Back to the first question, How can we include women's knowledge and expertise in the water and engineering sector?
There it would require an entirely different way of thinking and doing things. Not starting from the solution, but really starting from, hey, what is the problem? So I share that dream with you.
Masculinity in the water sector is a barrier to achieving water solutions based on equity and sustainability. Nepal is not a standalone case. Although there is some variation, the gender disparity is prevalent throughout the world. The status quo needs to change, and we can no longer use the excuse that things will get better with time.
I invite you to ask yourself, as a water professional, as an engineer, as a student, and as a human being, does my gender really matter?
When I was a little girl, I wished I was a boy. I tagged along behind the gang and wore me corduroys. Everybody said I only did it to annoy, but I was gonna be an engineer. Mama told me, can't you be a lady? Your duty is to make me the mother of a pearl. Wait until you're older, dear, and maybe you'll be glad that you're a girl. She's smart for a woman. I wonder how she got that way. But I'll fight them as a woman, not a lady. Fight them as an engineer.